Okay, so welcome back to BFF Fantasy Football, Best Fantasy Football, and we're coming today with our top five rookie rankings for who to have in fantasy football for 2021. This is mainly for redraft leagues. You could use this as like a dynasty setting, but dynasty rankings will be a lot different, especially for rookies, because we're only doing skill positions today. We're not doing any quarterbacks or anything like that. And I have Adrian and Izar today.
Yellow.
How long?
All right, so for starting off, ranking number one, I think this one was pretty easy. Najee Harris. Um, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself, you know. Workhorse running back for fantasy football, the value is always insane, and he's in an offense that needs to run the ball this year. I mean, we saw what happened last year with Big Ben's arm. Kind of feel like it gave away towards the end of the year, and the Steelers were like they were what 31st in rushing attack last year.
They were in
Yeah.
bottom of the barrel and running
Yeah, exactly.
last
They
year.
couldn't run the ball, and you saw that's why they started losing games, and it all just like super fell apart in that playoff game. Najee Harris is a huge talent. I mean, he's got no competition, fantasy wise, no competition for any running back to come in and take his spot. He's like the number one guy from the moment he got drafted. And the best part about him is he can catch the ball to the backfield.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got
yeah. I agree.
a lot of value in the PPR leagues. But the only thing that I'm concerned about Najee Harris is the Steelers' run blocking O line because they didn't really do much
They
to
did draft a few
improve
a
that
few
much.
linemen, and they got um, the rookie tight end who I think could open blocking situations.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
I
would agree
mean,
with that.
I feel like he might be an upgrade over what's his name, Eric Ebron's blocking, because Eric Ebron isn't really known for run blocking. He's like a catch the ball out of the backfield kind of guy. And
Yeah, and I also do believe Najee Harris is just way better talent than what James Conner
oh yeah, for
was.
sure. I mean, no
Oh
offense to
yeah, I
James
agree
I
with
Conner,
that
but
too.
the
I think
only
James Conner he needs to have a good old line. Najee
exactly.
Harris does not need that.
And it's kind of I we haven't compared to Le'Veon Bell. It's just like an easy comparison to make. But
Yeah,
I could see him catching maybe I don't know. Let's give him like 40 balls out of the backfield. I feel like that's a little bit high, but I could see that. We saw how much
yeah.
Big Ben loved to throw to Le'Veon Bell when he had that kind of guy out of the backfield. No offense to James Conner, but he's not the same level of talent as those two guys.
Not at all. I would
And he's
agree with
also going to
that.
get a lot of red zone touches too, especially the Steelers' offense. And stays how they've always been with Big Ben, where they air it out and then they try to get those red zone touchdowns. He's going to
Exactly,
get a
exactly.
lot of touches in the red zone
And
easily.
that's the
I,
biggest part for fantasy wise. If he can get those touches in the red zone, like, there you go. You're golden
yeah,
right there. That's why we have him rated as fantasy values in RB1. You could see him fall in like not dynasty leagues, like redraft leagues, second round, middle second round, unless someone in your draft might draft him first round. You could see that his stock is going to go through the roof because there's not many workhorse backs left in the NFL.
no, yeah, I agree. And I also kind of believe the front office is kind of given up a bit on Big Ben. I believe if they were able to get rid of him, they would have this offseason, but it just
Yeah, they were in a tough
there's
Yeah,
situation.
that's
wasn't really
true.
They were in a tough spot with
yeah.
Big
So
Ben.
I believe they're going to be leaning on the run just a bit more than the past couple of years.
Yeah,
I,
that's true.
I just feel like if there's anyone that can turn the running game around, it's Mike Tomlin. The players listen to him. He seems like their guy, and he's never had a losing season. So if he
Hmm.
wants to change the playbook around, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know what's Ben gonna say. I mean, he fell off towards the end of the year because his arm just kind of gave out.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he needs a steady running game, especially right now. So
I'm
Najee
sure.
Harris for sure is
Yeah,
going to get his
I'm sure
touches.
Ben would be okay with that if it might extend his career even a little bit. I don't think he would mind running the ball more. And Najee
I
Harris is
think,
like he was the best college running back. Like he was the best on the board by far. I had him rated way higher than Travis Etienne.
yeah,
oh,
easily.
yeah.
And all right, so that's the number one guy that we have for rookie rankings. So like our second guy that we had, it was like consensus number two is Kyle Pitts, just uber talented. The guy is just like everyone was saying if there's a lock for an All-Pro in this draft, it's going to be Kyle Pitts.
He's just a
Yeah.
can't miss player.
The best part about him is he's pass happy offense. Matt Ryan, he's been an MVP. We saw the stats that Ridley and Julio was hurt, but he still averaged I think over 100 yards receiving per game when he wasn't hurt last season.
Oh yeah.
Um, and adding
I,
Kyle Pitts
I
into
just
that,
like. Yeah, I just really like the addition of the new head coach that they're bringing in.
yeah,
Uh, get getting away from the having a defensive guy at their head coach, even though they're horrible defensively. Now they
terrible,
bring in a now they
absolutely
bring in an
terrible
offensive
defensively.
head coach, and they strengthen the strengths by bringing in Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, and Arthur Smith loves his tight ends. I mean, we made that point about Jonnu Smith. We saw the season Jonnu Smith had last year.
Yeah,
Um, he broke out at the beginning of the season. Arthur Smith was the OC down there in Tennessee.
yes,
You give
for
him a,
last year.
a talent like Kyle Pitts to play around with. I mean, Kyle Pitts is he's a receiver damn near. Like you could just put him out in the slot, and
Hmm.
I would not be surprised if we see that.
Yeah, yeah, Kyle Pitts, just his talent is so much more than what Jonnu Smith is, and Jonnu Smith is a good tight end.
Yeah, he's a good
Arthur
tight end.
Smith made him a way better tight end than what he is,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
imagine what he could do with Kyle Pitts. I think
Yeah,
that's
they
I'm
got
just
excited for Kyle Pitts' rookie year. I think he could have a great year. And fantasy wise, obviously tight end one. I mean, you know,
easily,
yeah,
easily tight end one.
he's obviously not. I mean, I feel like this year is the year to get him later in rounds because next year we could see him being taken up there with guys like Kittle and Kelsey, like at the second round,
Kelsey.
third round.
Yeah,
If he
yeah,
has, if he
I
has,
agree.
if he's a talent and has the year that everyone thinks he's gonna have, which I mean, obviously it could easily happen, especially in that offense. Um,
Especially since there's such a huge drop off in tight ends after you
oh
got
yeah,
rid of Kyle of George Kittle, Travis Kelsey, and then you kind of go to another tier of Darren Waller, and then after that, it just you
Mark
just
Andrews,
kind of
you throw Mark
It's just
Andrews in
mainly
yeah,
there.
those three guys though, because it's just Travis
yeah,
Kelsey, Kittle, and Waller. Anyone else is just
exactly.
you're just playing whatever matchups at that point. But Kyle Pitts might be as
Hmm.
good as those guys
Yeah, I mean,
easily.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised
And
if Kyle Pitts went as high went as the fourth tight end off the board. Uh,
and imagine consistently getting 20 to 30 points from your tight end.
yeah, I mean that's
That that
that's why
that's
people
that could
that's
be
why
a league
Kelsey's going in
winner.
the first round. I've seen him go in the
Exactly.
first round this year because the 30, 20, 30 points from your tight end is just ridiculous. When the other guy's tight
Yeah,
end lucky to catch a touchdown.
you're getting receiver numbers from a tight end position. That's a
Yeah,
league winner
easily.
to me.
Yeah, and the
And
and
then
the Julio point that we had in there. Um,
Yeah, if Julio gets traded, more targets for
yeah,
for
it's gonna
Kyle
be he's
Pitts.
gonna be way more involved when Julio gets traded. And also, I think the reason why, like Atlanta could have easily traded down on that
mhm.
fourth pick, and they just stayed there to get a position they don't really
It
need
wasn't a
that much.
pressing need because they already
It
had
was,
Hayden
yeah.
Hurst.
Yeah, exactly. But they still stayed with him because he's just that great of a player. And then Arthur Smith, former tight ends coach, he loves his tight ends. He's gonna get him the ball no matter what. He's gonna see a bunch of touches. He's gonna see good production. So he's for sure can't miss draft pick wherever you draft him. If you
Yeah,
get him in the later rounds, that's a steal.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's why. I mean, the only reason why he's not rated as the number one rookie is because just the workhorse running back is just too overvalued. Like with Najee Harris, because he's going to see
Yeah.
Hmm.
consistently, 20 touches a game. Where Kyle Pitts, you know, 10
There could be a game where he
could be a
gets
game where he
five
gets, yeah,
targets.
could be a game where he gets 5 targets. Could be a game where he gets 15 targets. We don't know.
Exactly, exactly. And that's how it is too, with having Julio. Julio being there, even staying there, could even be a huge for him because Julio's gonna
I mean, look at the
garnish
season
double
that
teams.
Calvin Ridley had last year when Julio wasn't in the lineup. I mean, Calvin Ridley wasn't the same player.
Exactly.
He was
Yeah, just
just
Now
constantly
imagine.
getting shut down by the number one corners. And you know, with Julio there, like you said, constantly getting the double. Julio is still Julio. People can't sleep on
Oh
him.
yeah. No, anytime Julio was out, Matt Ryan took a dip in
Yeah,
performance.
exactly. Um,
And I would know. I had Matt Ryan
yeah,
as my
you
quarterback
had Matt
last year.
Ryan. Yeah, yeah, and it was super easy to make the NFL comparison to Darren Waller. Tall, lanky, super fast,
Yeah. And
and
Darren Waller used to be
Reliable.
a wide receiver.
yeah, he used to be a wide receiver. Came into the league.
And
I mean,
that
Waller's been balling fantasy wise the last 2 years, balling. He's the number three. He's the number three tight end by far. And
yeah,
then you go into
yeah.
the tier of other tight ends like you got Mark Andrews. I
Mm,
kind of want to throw in Logan Thomas in that. Um,
Robert
uh,
Tunyon.
I don't know about no Robert Tonyan, dog.
He caught 11 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, he got 11
That's
touchdowns.
yeah.
only if Aaron
I
Rodgers
mean,
stays there, though.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
It's
easily tight end
at
one.
the end of the day, that tier at the bottom, it just becomes touchdown
Yeah,
dependent.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like
yeah, easily.
Tunyon, only reason why he was any good fantasy, 11 touchdowns. You take those
11
away,
touchdowns.
no one's
Mark
playing him.
Andrews, the
Mark
touchdowns.
Andrews, the
Yeah,
touchdowns. Yeah, they're not big yards guys. Where I see Pitts being,
these guys
I
big
mean,
big yards
you
and
could,
touchdowns.
yeah, touchdowns, yards. I could see him taking up, I don't know, 60 catches as a rookie. 700 yards.
Hmm.
He's gonna get a lot of catches for sure.
I,
Yeah.
I think I think he'll do great. All right, so we can move on to the guy that we have rated third on our list is Jamar Chase. Um, Best wide receiver rated in the draft. I know
Yeah,
Izar, you had him as your number one guy.
yeah. I think he's the most polished receiver out there. He's got the size, he's got the speed, he has the route moves. I think he's just overall the best one there. And he gets paired up with his old quarterback. I mean, what more is there to say?
Yeah. What? How many? I mean, Joe Burrow threw what do you have? 60 touchdowns in that season when they played together, and
Yeah.
and we saw Chase at his pro day after not playing for a whole year. Still unbelievable.
He's a
He
great
can he
Mhm.
talent
can
for
run
sure.
routes. He ran a 4.4, 40-yard dash. He's going like you said back to Joe Burrow. He's going to a pass happy offense. They have a terrible defense. No offense to any
So,
Bengals fans, but they have a terrible defense.
yeah. I mean, I would probably have rated him a little bit higher than Kyle Pitts if he had not gone into because thing is he has a bunch of receivers around him as well. So he's gonna be
Yeah,
fighting for
Higgins and Boyd,
Tyler Boyd.
Tyler
Yeah.
Boyd, yeah.
two guys that were there for Joe's rookie
And
year.
also their offensive line is not the greatest. So it's gonna mean there's not as much time
I
that
don't.
Joe
It
Burrow's
isn't
gonna
the
have to throw the
greatest,
ball.
but they did upgrade it, and I'm happy with the upgrades they
They did.
did. I was a little skeptical when they traded back and didn't draft like Tevin Jenkins or something, or they had him on the
Yeah,
board
yeah.
and just kind of
Yeah, they should have easily
passed up.
picked Tevin Jenkins in the second round for sure.
I'm sure Bears.
Uh,
He went to the Bears, right? I'm sure Bears
yes,
Yeah,
fans
he
yes, he
did.
are
went to the
Yeah.
happy
Bears.
with
And
that.
I'm not.
Yeah, and Vikings fan, GG.
Yeah, the thing about Cincinnati too, though, is Joe Burrow's injury last year. Is he going to come back and be the same guy still? You don't
I
know.
think
There's
he'll be
still a
Agree.
back.
question mark there.
I
But
I mean, I'm hopeful
I
he'll be
mean,
back 'cause, Joe's my guy. I'm a big Joe fan.
at the end of the day, you don't want to see what happened to a guy like Sam Bradford.
Oh
Fingers
no.
yeah,
crossed.
Yeah, I don't even want
Fingers
to.
crossed.
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
yeah. So
First
Sam
of
Bradford,
all, Sam
was an
Bradford,
exceptional talent.
yeah, but he didn't have the talent around him like Joe has, at least at the wide receiver position.
No,
I could
no,
be
no, no,
wrong, but I don't remember him playing with a guy like
no. He didn't have the
Lamar or anything
talent
like
like
that.
that around him, but he was still, the injuries what
The injuries piled
really
up
messed him
on
up.
Sam Bradford.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. You just gotta
that's all.
hope for Joe.
I think Joe will be
Yeah,
fine. They did solid upgrades to the O line. I I'm happy with the Jamar Chase pick. I was scared he was gonna go to Tua. I don't think Tua is that great of a quarterback. But fantasy
yeah.
value wise, Jamar Chase went to like the perfect spot for him. Perfect spot.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Get paired up with his old quarterback. I
And
think that's the main
Joe's
point.
gonna give him the ball. So if you can draft Jamar Chase, what do you guys think? Like seventh round, sixth round, you could get him. He's a
Yeah,
I would say
solid.
probably six. Yeah,
yeah. Sixth, seventh, eighth, around that area would be a solid place to draft him at because Joe Burrow's gonna get his guy the ball no
Yeah,
matter what. Like, he's gonna get his guy the
yeah.
ball, and he's
He'd be
might
your
be.
wide receiver two or flex.
yeah. Wide receiver
Yeah,
two or a flex. That's what we had him rated as
that's what
fantasy value wise.
A flex position would be good for him, and he might be honestly he might become the Bengals' number one receiver
Yeah, I wouldn't
throughout
be
like,
surprised if
Yeah,
by the end
before
of the
the end of the
season he's the
season.
number one guy. I just feel like he's more
agree.
talented than Boyd and, uh, T Higgins.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
easily.
He's got
And
like
Cincinnati is just
the skill
terrible,
set.
so
Yeah,
They're gonna be throwing the ball.
honestly, if all three of the receivers have 100 catches, wouldn't be surprised. Their defense is that bad.
yeah, and they're going to
Yeah,
be playing from behind a lot because their defense is really bad. So they're going to have to be in a bunch of shootouts and everything. So
I
he's going
mean,
to get his
yeah,
targets, his ball, he's going to get his catches, his
we saw what
touchdowns.
Joe Burrow was
For
able to
sure,
do
good
last year
fantasy
whenever they
player.
were in the shootouts with Cleveland. He was putting up
Yeah.
insane fantasy numbers against Cleveland, and he's playing them twice a year. I mean, Cleveland's defense is solid, so we'll see how that works out. But I think the addition of Jamar Chase to that offense just makes them just so much better.
yeah. I
He's
agree.
a
I agree.
good prospect for sure.
Just hopeful Joe comes back fine from his
Yeah,
injury. That's the biggest thing. And
yeah. Fingers crossed.
the NFL comparison, Adrian was on. He was talking about Amari Cooper because they had like the same similar skill sets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
around same height, same speed. They both were
yeah.
great route runners coming out of college, so
Yeah. I
he
think that's a
should
big
have
one.
that same impact Amari had whenever he first came in.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if you can snag him in your fantasy drafts, I mean, look, I mean, I like to stack. So if you could get Joe Burrow and stack him with Jamar Chase, and obviously, Jamar Chase maybe don't start in week one. Kind of feel where he's going. Maybe towards the middle of the season, like we were saying, towards the end, he becomes their wide receiver one. You got yourself a huge steal.
yeah, yep.
All right, so next guy. I mean, this one I was a little meh about Devonta Smith. We had him rated 4. You know, I personally think Jalen Waddle's a better receiver, but Jalen Waddle's got a lot of other. There's other options around him, like other receivers, like you got Devontae Parker, you got Mike Gesicki, Will Fuller will be back eventually. Um, Miles Gaskins in the backfield, so they have talent. So it makes it to where he might not have that same fantasy value that like Devonta Smith has.
Well, and also I think Miami's just gonna be more leaning on the run to get pressure off of Tua because we still don't know what Tua is.
Yeah, I'm not high
So
on Tua. I don't think he has that it factor. I just don't see it in him. He could prove me wrong this year, but the only guy I'd want to take from that offense draft wise would be Miles Gaskin because of what Adrian just said. They're going to lean on the run.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then
I mean, with Devontae Smith, I think he's going into this Eagles team as the best skill position player on that team. I would say. You know, coming off a Heisman winning year, and some people have issues with his stature,
His
of how
size,
small he
yeah.
is. Thing is, though, he didn't get injured in college, and I think that's the big one is
Yeah, I
that
mean, he's played at that size since he was in high school, like a
yeah.
freshman in high school. He's
and
playing
So
a
I
skinny, lean guy, like a
the
Deshaun
NFL also
Jackson.
has like the best like trainers and everything. So if anyone's gonna
yeah.
get his body into good shape,
Yeah.
it's gonna be those NFL trainers and stuff. So he'll be fine. I think he'll
Mhm.
be fine.
Yeah, I don't think his size is a concern, honestly. I think that's why a lot of people sleep on him, though. I mean, that's probably why I don't have him rated as high as Jalen Waddle. Um,
Yeah. It's just
because of his size, and it is it's scary because it's like, oh, what if you draft him? I mean, honestly though, as a rookie, you're not going to take a big fall if you do draft him, and he does end up getting
yeah.
hurt. But if he doesn't end up getting hurt, that upside is like through the roof.
Yeah, I think my only concern with this pick is just the idea of Jalen Hurts throwing him the ball. I'm not a big fan of Jalen Hurts, and I believe that
He does have
the
that
Eagles
Hurts
were able to.
connection though. They played together in
Yeah, he
college.
does. He does. But
I mean, Jalen Hurts had a couple of big passing games last season, so it just depends on
yeah,
what kind of game plan the new Eagles head coach or the new offense that they're going to be installing over there in Philadelphia. It also honestly depends on that too. But he's for sure going to
uh,
be their number one receiver in my
I
opinion
mean,
because they what
Philly's
else do
coming
they
in with a
have
new
over
head
there?
coach too. You could
yeah.
see the offense change from what it was last year. I mean, no offense to Jalen
I,
Hurts, he
I,
just didn't
I
play
mean,
nearly
I
as
do
good as him.
believe, there's going to be running the ball too, though. I believe that's something that they want to do because the Eagles work through RPOs. They do a lot of RPOs.
That's
I think
yeah.
that was
That's what got him the
they
Super
won a
Bowl
Super
a few
Bowl.
years ago.
Yeah, yeah, they
But
won a
that
Super Bowl
regime's
because of
gone, so I
RPOs.
feel like I don't know if the new guys that are there are gonna want to keep that up, or if they're gonna want to do what they're you know how coaches be. They want to do their own thing.
Yeah,
Well, their
yeah,
head coach, he's from Indianapolis, and they were mainly a power run team last year, so they'll be running the ball too.
Yeah.
But they'll be playing off that play action and get Devonta Smith the
agreed.
ball for sure.
Who's their RB?
Yeah,
Who's their starting running back? Oh, I'm sorry,
it's,
Miles Sanders. Yeah.
Miles
yeah,
Sanders,
Miles
yeah.
Yeah,
Sanders.
the thing about Miles Sanders is I don't see him as being a you know, workhorse 3 down back, punch it up the middle kind of
He
guy.
is, yeah. No, he is not. But I believe they believe Hurts could be that type of player though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because the way Hurts runs, he's not the fastest, but he'll run through people.
yeah,
And that's my issue too, is that there's a good chance Hurts could end up hurting himself later down the line because
dude.
of the
I don't
way he
even. That
plays.
would be tough if you have any Eagles players. Their fantasy value could dip like crazy. You know, Jalen Hurts
It's
could.
a
Exactly.
risky pick for sure, but
Yeah,
Devontae Smith's got a
Devonta
lot of
Smith's a risky
potential though.
pick. Yeah,
He
exactly.
does
He's got the
a lot of
potential.
potential, and he's the number one guy. I think that's the big thing is that he should be getting the targets.
Yeah, I'm not a
Yeah,
huge wide
anytime you can
Whether
get
receiver
a number
either.
one guy in fantasy, it's good,
Yeah,
no
we
matter
have him
who the
and at the
rated as
same
quarterback is.
wide receiver 3 for your fantasy team because obviously you shouldn't be relying on starting him week in week out, even though he's the number one, probably going to be the number one guy in Philly. You
it's
know,
not going to be a great offense.
yeah, exactly. It's not going to be the best offense. So don't hang your hat on Devonta Smith being your big play guy because I mean he could be, but
To start out, no, you can get him. You can get him around like the seventh, eighth round, and just stash
yeah,
him,
he's
see how he
yeah
does
yeah.
for a few weeks.
All right, so I mean, move on to the last guy that I am really high on him. Michael Carter. I know Izar is too.
Yeah. So with Michael Carter, he was a fourth round pick. However, though, it just you look at the Jets running back situation. They their number one running back is Tevin Coleman, and what has Tevin Coleman done like the past couple years?
Okay,
Nothing.
just realized something. This is the wrong Michael Carter picture. This is the one for this is the cornerback they also drafted. So forgive the
Ah,
graphics. It's
yes,
supposed to be the
yes,
running
yes, yes.
back,
Running back
Michael
coming out of
Carter,
North
coming out of
Carolina.
North Carolina, not the cornerback
Yes,
Michael Carter.
yes.
Graphic messed up. Should be fine. Still
Uh,
same name. So
well, he's still on the Jets as well.
yeah, they're
So
both on the Jets. They're both on the Jets. This is just the cornerback Michael Carter. Either way, you know, the running back they drafted, Michael Carter. Like you were saying, I mean, we both mentioned he should be the starter by midseason. I mean, who do they have? LaMichael P. Ryan, I believe.
Michael P. Ryan, Ty Johnson, and Tevin Coleman,
Yeah.
and I don't believe any of them stand out. I believe Michael Carter in that position is pretty.
Michael Carter could be a huge steal in your fantasy drafts. Huge steal.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
He could be someone like James Robinson was
yeah,
last
from
year.
last year.
Yeah, and also you have to think about like the offense they're gonna be running because they got that same offense from San Francisco because they got Saleh as their head coach and they
Salah
got
as their head coach.
Yeah,
He
the
saw
and
what
offensive
worked.
coordinator is he used to be in San Francisco, so he's gonna be trying to run that same Kyle Shanahan type of system of running the ball with
Uh-huh.
different running backs and everything. So he'll
and
be getting
yeah,
touches for
exactly.
sure.
And with them drafting Zach Wilson, they want to. I feel like Salah's gonna like try. You don't want to put a rookie quarterback right on the scene, unless it's someone like Trevor Lawrence. You want to ease him in a little bit, even with Trevor.
And even then, even with Trevor, they drafted as a
They
Travis
drafted
Etienne.
him, Travis. Yeah, you
Yeah,
wanna
Yeah,
there's
so
you wanna slowly ease him in, and like Adrian was saying, Salah comes from the Kyle Shanahan regime where they run the
yeah,
ball,
great point.
and it
Great point.
works. It works because I saw some stat the there's 2 quarterbacks that have started their career with like the highest passing yards like through 9 games. Number one is Patrick Mahomes. Number two was the backup quarterback in San Francisco. I forget
Oh,
his
yes,
name
yes, yes,
because he was
yes.
a freaking nobody.
Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins,
Nick Mullen. Yeah.
and it worked. He has the second most passing yards to start a career through 9 games, only behind Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes. And why is that? Because the
And
Kyle
that's
Shanahan system works.
Yeah, the running game. That's it's a big part of their
Michael Carter
system.
could be a huge stash player. You draft him late, you know, he might
Yeah, this is around
he might even go
10th, maybe
undrafted.
even
He
undrafted.
might even go
Yeah,
undrafted. Exactly.
undrafted. He could be a waiver pickup.
Just like James
Uh,
Robinson was last year. And James Robinson probably saved a couple of you guys this season. I know Adrian.
Yeah, James Robinson for sure saved my season last year when Michael Thomas was destroying it.
Yeah. Michael Carter could be a great. He could be a great guy. You know, you could like we had down there stash. There's a few players that we're about to go into that you can stash on your. A few, you know, obviously this is a rookie video, so we're gonna have rookie players that you can stash on your team who we think could have good upside, depending on you know kind of how the situations play out. Um, so
yeah, this is more of a low risk, high reward
yeah,
type of deal.
exactly. Low risk, high reward. I just feel like the rookie classes get better every single year. The players are just more ready to play than ever before. And these are some guys that you could stash on your fantasy rosters and have really no issue with them just sitting on your bench every week as long as you have solid starters. Like I know last year I stashed Cam Akers and DeAndre Swift. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I gave up on them midway through the season, and look at how they both finished. They were both RB1s on their team. I mean,
Hmm.
DeAndre Swift put up great numbers. Cam Akers put up insane numbers at the end of the season. I had neither one on my fantasy team anymore. So don't do what I did. If you're gonna stash a rookie, you're gonna stash rookies. Keep them on your team, unless you have to drop them. Let's say someone gets hurt, you have to go pick up a guy off the waiver wire. You have to drop one of the rookies. It's okay. You know, things happen. So you know,
And well, yeah, one of the first players we have up there is Trey Sermon. As you guys saw in the mock draft that we did yesterday, I was very high on Trey Sermon, and I believe that he's a good running back. And taking into account of what happened last year with Raheem Mostert, him getting injured constantly throughout the year, it's good to have a guy like that. That's going to be the second running back. He's going to be coming up if Raheem Mostert gets hurt again.
and that's another point I want to say. If you have like a high running back that you draft, this really only goes for running backs. If you have a high running back that you draft, say I don't know, I'm trying to think of one. Okay, for example, Jonathan Taylor, Colts running back. Colts are gonna run the ball. Let's say later in the rounds you can pick up his backup. I'm not sure exactly who that is right now. You draft his backup, you can stash him. It doesn't. You don't have to necessarily stash rookies
Oh,
just because.
here's a good example. Say Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's a player that usually tends to get hurt throughout the year. He gets hurt like almost every season. It wouldn't be a bad idea to stash away Alexander Madison
Yeah,
in
for
the
those
later
one or
rounds.
two games, you don't have Dalvin Cook. You put in his backup. I mean, Madison last year he had 100 yards I think against the Seahawks.
Yeah, and
Uh,
just those type of players that they're gonna run the ball because that's what the team predicates their team
like
around, running the
McCaffrey
ball.
owners last year, Mike Davis was solid to begin the year. If you had McCaffrey and you also drafted Mike Davis just in case to stash him, paid out for you. I don't know how well that worked out for you. If you had McCaffrey last year, he kind of kind of catfished everyone that drafted him. I had him, so a little salty about that. But yeah, I mean, if you want to stash their backup, go for it. These are just some rookies that we think would be great to stash because we think they could have breakout years, or not necessarily break out, but they could put up solid fantasy production, especially towards the end of the year, come fantasy playoff time. Because you know,
Yeah, for
like you were
sure.
saying, Trey Sermon, you know, Mostert gets hurt, Sermon comes in, or Sermon just turns out to be the better running back than Mostert, and Kyle Shanahan likes a lot of running backs. You could start seeing Trey Sermon 15, 20 touches a game. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and then some of these other wide receivers, like Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman, Amon-Ra St. Brown, any of those wide receivers, you can just stash away. Elijah Moore, probably, he's going to be around third receiver in New York. I don't know that much, at least, how high you guys would have him, but I would at least keep him stashed away. I think the best rookie receiver out of all these that you could probably get would be Amon-Ra St. Brown because, Detroit, they lost Kenny Galladay. They don't really have that number one receiver, that many options there. So they got to get the ball to someone when they're throwing the ball. So I think Amon-Ra St. Brown might be a good waiver wire pickup,
Actually,
at
yeah, I
least
agree
after the
with you on
draft
that
for
one.
sure.
I agree with you on that one. I think he could be. I mean, he could be second in targets behind T.J. Hawkinson. I mean, who
Yeah,
who
yeah.
who
TJ
did they who did
Hawkinson's
they
gonna get his
give
targets too.
who did they give to Jared Goff so he could succeed? You know, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown could be that guy for him that he likes to throw the ball to him and T.J. Hawkinson. I
And
wouldn't
it
be
could be his
surprised.
Cooper Cup.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Could be his Cooper Cup. You know, we saw how much he liked Cooper Cup. He was being drafted as high as the third round. You know.
It just depends how Detroit does, but he keep an eye on Amon-Ra St. Brown for sure for the waiver wire pickups. And Rashad Bateman, he's going to be playing a lot in Baltimore. Baltimore does not have that good of a receiving core. He's going to be playing a lot
Yeah,
too, but you never want to really trust those Baltimore receivers because Lamar Jackson runs the ball a lot. So be careful
yeah,
on Rashad Bateman. And for anyone else like Amari Rogers, Rondell Moore, they'll just be put into different situational type of plays, but
yeah.
they'll get the ball every
Yeah,
now
I
and then
wouldn't
for sure
expect
with
much
Aaron
from those
Rodgers.
last
But
couple guys we got on the list. Like Rondell Moore, I wouldn't expect a lot from him if I were you. The only reason we say to stash is, injuries can happen. Hoping that doesn't. Hopkins could go down with an injury. AJ Green could go down with an injury. Devonta Adams could go down with an injury in Green Bay. If Aaron Rodgers stays and Devonta Adams goes down with an injury, seriously take a hard look at Amari Rodgers.
easily,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I also believe Amari Rogers. If he's able to, at the end of the day, what it is with the Packers, what you need to do, hopefully, he develops that relationship with Aaron Rodgers.
I saw some
You
stat
know,
that Devontae had 115 catches last year, and the next closest Packers receiver had 33.
yeah. And honestly, it's all it is too. I believe with them is that I don't think you need to be a great red receiver. You just need to know what Aaron Rodgers thinking.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And
That's true.
And yeah,
I'm super high on Javonte Williams. I know right now they have Melvin Gordon, but Melvin Gordon's been replaced before. He's not the same guy. Javonte could be that spark that they need in Denver, because Denver's not.
yeah,
They're not really good. They're one of those teams that I think aren't going to make the playoff. They're like for sure one of those teams. They're just not very good. Um,
yeah.
and
I'd say they need
it's like
a
it's
quarterback
like the
there.
James
If
Robinson
they can
thing
get Aaron
last year.
Rodgers, Javonte
Yeah,
Williams stock will go up.
Yeah, if they get Aaron Rodgers, yeah. But you got everyone on Denver's offense going up. You got
yeah.
Cortland Sutton and Jerry Judy shooting up the draft boards.
Jared Judy.
But
Uh-huh.
like I said, Javonte Williams could be like a James Robinson from last year. He is the best player on a bad team.
Uh-huh.
Not saying that I think he's automatically better than Melvin Gordon. I just think, obviously, Melvin Gordon's been an NFL running back for years, but Javonte Williams, I feel like at the moment, more explosive. Melvin Gordon's been through some injuries. He wasn't really that guy last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, that's the thing is that he wasn't really that guy last year, and I think the Broncos noticed that, and that's why they got Javante
Yeah,
Williams.
I mean that's why the Chargers moved off of him.
Yeah,
Austin Eckler gave him that spark, and you know I could see the same thing happening in Denver.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
And then we got the boy Pat for the Steelers. Basically, just because I'm not really sure about Eric Ebron. He's kind of he's. I mean, he hasn't been the same since he was with Andrew Luck. He had a couple touchdowns last year, did okay, but I could see them kind of splitting. Um, so don't be too high on the Steelers tight ends. I know Big Ben threw crazy amount of passes last year, but he's main. I mean, he doesn't really rely on the tight end anymore like he used to at the beginning of his career with Heath Miller.
Yeah.
So
And I believe Frameworth is more of a. I think they really liked his blocking
yeah, it's gonna open the lanes
more
up for
than
Najee, like we said earlier.
yeah.
All right, so I guess that's the video today. We just went over our top rookie players to hold to draft on your team, top rookies to target, and players to stash away. Rookie players to stash away. We didn't do quarterbacks, only because we can do that in another video. I think mainly we just wanted to get the skill position out because skill positions are the most important positions in fantasy football.
Agreed. You could have
Easily.
multiple skill positions. You could only have one quarterback starting.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you're high on the rookie class like I am, I think Izar is too. I don't know about Adrian. I don't know if Adrian really buys
No,
into the rookies.
this rookie class is one of the best ones in the past few years,
Yeah,
so for sure.
if you're gonna target a rookie class, look at this one. Those are just our top couple guys that you could target. Feel free to let us know who you think will be better. If you want to discuss something in the comments, go for it. Um, we're always down for a discussion.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys got?
Just like and subscribe. Honestly, like
Yeah.
and subscribe.
Yeah, it'd be greatly appreciated. You guys can like,
Yeah.
subscribe,
Well,
and share the video
Mhm.
to any of
Yeah,
your
share the video.
friends.
yeah, we will be
Yeah.
pumping out fantasy videos as much as we can. We got a ton of great ideas going. Mock draft Mondays are going to be a lot of fun. If we get enough, if we get people to come and watch the videos, you guys could join us on the mock drafts. Let us know your thoughts. Appear in a video, no big deal.
Yeah,
And
and
let us help
follow.
you win the championship this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, and follow our Twitter. It's gonna be out there in the bio.
yeah.
And yeah,
Twitter. We got a Twitter and TikTok too.
a
So
website.
if you want
Yeah,
to look at
TikTok.
TikTok, yeah,
Yeah.
you want to look at TikTok, go for it. All right. Well, that's it from us.
All right. Peace.